Security Forum. Et cette cérémonie de clôture sera marquée par 3 points principaux. La déclaration finale du Lome Security Forum édition 2025, le mot de remerciement et bien entendu le discours de clôture. Mais également, nous suivrons 2 vidéos de 5 minutes chacune. Lome Security Forum édition 2025. Au total, nous avons suivi 5 panels de discussion thématiques animés par une trentaine d'intervenants, y compris les modérateurs. Je pense que c'est le lieu de saluer le travail gigantesque du comité d'organisation sous le leadership du ministre togolais des Affaires étrangères. Merci d'ovationner très, très, très fort. En guise de remerciement à tous les intervenants, également les modérateurs. Merci à tous pour les partages très, très édifiants. Eh bien, comme je l'annonçais, nous allons ouvrir donc cette session marquant la cérémonie de clôture de cette édition 2025 du forum par donc un élément vidéo que je vous invite à suivre tout de suite. Une vidéo donc qui va durer environ 5 minutes.
Vous avez droit à une vidéo qui retrace la renaissance du palais de Lomé, l'ancien palais du gouverneur, qui aura été lié à l'histoire récente, tumultueuse de notre pays. Je salue avec déférence son Excellence, Monsieur l'ancien Premier ministre Kofigo, qui nous a rejoints. Et c'est aussi le symbole de la renaissance de nos différents États par la volonté de la mobilisation des ressources endogènes, telles que nous les rappelait tout à l'heure les dirigeants du panel des leaders que nous saluons une fois de plus avec déférence et reconnaissance pour leur engagement, pour le travail qu'ils font chacun à leur niveau et pour que notre Afrique soit meilleure pour ses enfants. Alors, à l'issue de cette seconde édition du Lomé Peace and Security Forum, nous allons écouter la déclaration finale. Elle sera présentée par Monsieur le ministre, Son Excellence Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères de la République de Somalie, que je vais vous inviter à accueillir très chaleureusement maintenant. So, let's welcome for final declaration of this second edition of Lome Peace and Security Forum, His Excellency Mr. Ali Mohammed Omar, State Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Somalia.
Thank you very much. We had 2 long days. So here I will read the summary of the declaration of the conference, of the forum. It will consist based on the panelists we have. But there are a few introductions. The consideration of peace in Africa in the context marked by a highly complex security challenges requires a comprehensive understanding of these challenges and connected actions and concerted actions based on the integrated approach. Such actions must include, among other things, the implementation of the essential operational measures that building of a strategic autonomy for the continent in the face of international geopolitical rivalries. The establishment of lasting peace ensures stability and a shared prosperity across the continent, notably in the Great Lake, the consideration, the challenges posed by AI, the security and development, and the strengthening the youth involvement and the involvement and perspective in peace building and consolidated in Africa. To this end, number 1, on strengthening peace and stability. We call upon African states to fully recognize the evolving nature of a security threat and to provide appropriate response that take into account their complex transversal nature and the current international context marked by a heightened tensions. We strongly encourage states to adopt a holistic approach to security by integrating within traditional conflict management and prevention strategies dimensions related to governance, development, social inclusion, gender, and climate change. We urge states to take concerted measures aimed at promoting mutual trust, intelligence sharing, intra-Africa solidarity, and pooling of resources to conflict prevention and management. We invite African states to revisit and fully implement the African peace and security architecture by taking into account technological advances, integrating AI into existing defense mechanisms. We call for the establishment of a traditional mechanism. We call for the enhancement for the traditional mechanism for the prevention, management, and resolution of conflict as to harness their potential in promoting peace and security in Africa. We request the United Nations to adopt the mandate and conduct of its peacekeeping operations in Africa to the evolving nature of threats to international peace and security. We urge African states to take immediately the necessary domestic ratification measures for the view to accelerating the entry into force and operationalization of the Lome Charter for Maritime Security. We strongly exhort African states and regional and sub-regional institutions to work toward the enhancement, the entrenchment of democracy and the rule of law, good governance, transparency, accountability, and the respect of human rights. We call upon states to intensify investment in social resilience through the financing of projects in a social and solidarity economy, agroecology, handcrafts, and the digital economy, which meet community needs, strengthen resilience to the climate shocks, and offer alternative to violence and illicit economies. We invite states and the regional economic communities to give priority to dialogue in the crisis management and cross-border synergy, in particular the states of West Africa and the AES, to move toward the creation of a framework for consultation between ECOWAS and the AES. We request Togo to work toward the establishment of a framework for dialogue between the ECOWAS and AES. We urge the African Union, the regional economic communities, and the states to set up a specific indigenous program to eradicate poverty and strengthen inclusion. The second item, which is the strengthen the autonomy in evolving African geopolitical landscape. We invite African countries to strengthen their independence in mobilizing resources and financing defense security by prioritizing indigenous sources. We urge African states to consider, in light of a global development, review of defense agreements in order to fully exert their sovereignty. We strongly encourage the development of autonomous defense capabilities supported by the creation of African arms industry, the use of indigenous technology, and the establishment of a more appropriate military training, and the emergence of a genuine African defense market. We exhort African states to ensure autonomous and sustainability financing for regional and continental institutions, as well as peace and security initiatives of the continent. We invite the African Union to strengthen its role in the strategic coordination of defense and peace initiatives undertaken on the continent, including those carried out by the United Nations and external partners. We urge the African Union to redefine the framework of cooperation between the continent and other regions of the world, adapting the choice of partners to geostrategic development and to Africa's fundamental interest. We encourage African Union and its members to accelerate engagement with the emerging powers, including the BRICS, in order to promote a multipolar world based on justice, equality, and peace. We call upon African states to more vigorously defend the continent's common position within the international bodies and fora. The third item, on peace, stability in the Great Lakes. We call upon African states to fully recognize that peace and stability in the Great Lakes region constitute a necessary condition for the establishment and consolidation of a lasting peace in Africa. We encourage the states of the Great Lakes region to take bold measures aimed at creating the condition for a sustainable peace and a shared prosperity through strengthened regional economic cooperation. We invite the states of the Great Lakes to prioritize dialogue and consultation in the settlement of their dispute and to promote inclusive governance, the protection of human rights, and the peaceful coexistence. We urge African states to strengthen their support to the African Union initiative aimed at resolving the conflict in the Great Lakes. We commend Togo for its sustained effort toward the restoration of peace in the eastern part of DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, in accordance with the mandate by the Assembly of the Head of State and Government of the African Union. We strongly urge United Nations agencies, states, and partners to intensify their humanitarian support for the refugees and displaced persons and to take all necessary measures to protect women and children who are the most vulnerable in the crisis situation. The fourth item on the challenges of AI intelligence in relation to peace in Africa. We call upon African states to recognize the transformative potential of artificial intelligence, to adopt appropriate measures to harnessing its opportunity, and to prepare to manage the ambivalent effects. We urge African states and the African Union Commission to include the issue of the digital revolution in their political agendas and to mobilize resources to support research and innovation in the field of AI. We urge the African Union and member states to take urgent action on AI and related technologies, including establishing a fund for the development and mastery of AI in promoting massive multi-sector young training to make AI an instrument for Africa, strategic autonomy, and positive transformation. We urge African states to take strong and concerted measures to protect their data and to pool their resources to develop autonomous capabilities. We strongly invite states to increase investment in the digital infrastructure, to take a robust and concerted measures to protect their data and to pool their resources to develop autonomous capabilities in the field of AI. We call for the elaboration of a common action, policies, and data protection and data use in AI ethics. We exhort states to make the best use of untapped potential of digital technologies and social entrepreneurship as the levers for empowerment, job creation, and the promotion of a culture of peace. We urge states to implement monitoring and content filtering mechanism to prevent the use of online platforms as a channelist for radicalization and the recruitment of young people into a violent extremist groups. We call for support to be given to the artists and content creators who promote narratives that counter violence and who through their commitment contribute the promotion of a cultural diversity and the construction of hate speech and in cyberspace. The fifth and the last one. the contribution of youth to the lasting peace in Africa. We call for the operationalization of existing frameworks such as Africa Youth Charter and for the acceleration of the implementation of African Union Youth Peace and Security Program. We urge states and international organizations to promote mechanisms aimed at increasing the effective participation of young people in the process of a conflict prevention, resolution, and peacekeeping. We exhort states to develop and implement policies that strengthen the resilience of young people against violent extremism. We invite states to establish at the local level peace and security committees integrating youth, women, traditional elders, and security forces for a collaborative management of peace and security challenges. We encourage African youth to engage more actively in promoting peace and security on the continent through national and transnational initiatives of cooperation and solidarity. We support the call of young people for establishment of African Youth Fund and call on the African Union to take the necessary steps to make this fund effective as soon as possible. We support the call of young people to African states and the African Union for the stronger and more active mobilization around the crucial issue of reparation for the historical crimes committed against the peoples of Africa, which remains the indispensable path for the consolidation of peace and lasting relationship between Africa and its partners, especially those who were involved in the slavery, deportation, and colonization. We commend Togo for its initiative with the decision-making bodies of the African Union, which led to the adoption by the Assembly of Heads of State and Government on February 16, 2025 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, of the historic decision on the qualification, quote, on the qualification of slavery, deportation, and colonization as a crime against humanity and genocide against the people of Africa. We support the call of young people to correct the map of the world so that it best reflects the real dimensions of the Africa and contributes to its current effort to restore the continent to a fair and equitable place in the global governance. Final provision. We express our gratitude to the President of the Council, His Excellency, Mr. Fiore Izozima Genezimba, and the government of Togo for the leadership and unwavering commitment to peace and security in Africa, and the successful organization of the proceeding of the second edition of Lome Peace and Security. We call upon Togo to work toward the implementation of the recommendation contained in this declaration, done in Lome, 12 October 2025.
His Excellency for the positive words. À l'ouverture du forum hier, il avait prononcé les mots d'ouverture. Mesdames et messieurs, je vous prie de recevoir de nouveau son Excellence Abdi Saïd Moussé Ali, Chairperson du Lomé Peace and Security Forum, pour les mots de remerciement sous des ovations bien nourries.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished participants, colleagues and friends, Lome has shown that dialogue and reflection alone is not enough. The work ahead is to translate the strategy that we set out around strategic autonomy, youth, AI, and leadership into policy and commitments that are capacitated. And this is how Africa needs to strengthen its autonomy. Although declarations are important, but the work is through slow, deliberate construction of states that protect, deliver, and endure. They advance each day through discipline and purpose, through resolve to turn clear vision into institutions that work for the people. Over the last 3 days, we looked beyond peace and security crisis to how to create systems that can create or contain the conflicts. The conversations we had affirmed that Africa's peace will not be engineered from outside. It grows from steady statecraft that earns legitimacy and extends authority across space, links power to service, and our panels made this deficit unmistakable. Ideas are not a problem. It is the institutions that convert strategy into power. So strategic autonomy was said to begin with capacity, is to produce value at home, to protect people and assets, and to decide direction without waiting for approval. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the different panels that were covered here, I'm not going to repeat the discussions we had, but just to point out that in the declaration, some of the issues were captured immediately. Maybe, I don't know, through AI. It is the work of the Secretariat that has captured, and you have seen some of the calls of former prime ministers, my brother and my sister. They were there in the declaration. I want to also commend the President of Council, His Excellency, for Inyansibe. You have to know we are from East Africa, so when we pronounce names in the West, so you have to bear with us. His Excellency reminded us Lome must remain in place for clarity, action, and a space where we dare to affirm that peace is not a naive dream, but a demanding strategy. We need to convert that intent into institutions and align mandates with resources, and tie strategies that enforce the accountability and the enforcement. I also want to recognize my brother, Professor Robert Duse, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Cooperation, African Integration, and Togolese abroad. Through his strategic discipline, Lome has moved from a venue to vantage point, a working capital of African dialogue, where analysis and discussions becomes policy, and policy is carried out through practice. I also want to thank the team that has made this possible. A lot of people from the ministry, from the secretariat, from the hotel, from the people who have been supporting us have made this possible. And to you all, our delegates, panelists, partners, moderators, your work is what gave this substance. what we have done here must move outward into the ministries that design policy, parliaments that legislate for peace and security, and regional bodies that act with unity and resolve, including African Union and United Nations. Lome was said by previous speakers that it is symbol of what African cooperation in peace and security can achieve when a vision meets political will. So before I conclude, I want to tell you a story. When Somalia collapsed Somali state collapsed in 1991. So people were running to different parts of the world. And then young man, his mother, he was a polite person. His mother liked him. So she blessed him and read dua, prayers for him. And she said, because he was going to Europe, she said, may God, Allah, open all the doors of these white people for you and give you blessings that come from taps, tap water and all that. That boy went to Europe and he came, and when he goes to the shopping malls, the doors were opening. He came home, in some countries, the milk you can get from the tap, and he gets milk, and he calls his mother and said, Mom, I got all your blessings. So Africa, I ask God that we get all our blessings. I thank you very much.
Sincere gratitude to the chairperson of Lomé Peace and Security Forum. Toute notre gratitude à son Excellence, Monsieur Abdi Saïd Mouché Ali. Merci pour ces chaleureux propos. On va abuser de votre patience. On va simplement vous demander d'apprécier ces images du best-of de ces moments, de ces 2 jours, juste avant les mots de clôture de son Excellence, Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères, qui aura reçu ses collègues, ses pairs. Découvrons en images ces précieux moment que vous nous avez offert à travers ces 2 jours de cette seconde édition du Lomé Peace and Security Forum.
Mesdames et messieurs, notre diplomatie s'emploie à tisser des ponts entre les États, entre les régions et entre l'Afrique. Cette tradition diplomatique issue depuis les indépendances du Togo, qui à un moment donné avec le président Eyadema s'est révélée une diplomatie très active pour la paix, continue toujours à voir l'œuvre.
Nous devons repenser la paix en Afrique, non pas comme une aspiration abstraite ou idéaliste, mais comme un véritable projet politique et stratégique que nous porterons nous-mêmes.
Solution is leadership. I'm President Fona Sengbe. I thank you and congratulate you because here we bring together experts, professionals, policymakers, leaders to come together and think together and work together for peace, security, stability, predictability, and development and progress of Africa. May peace reign across our continent. It bless those who support peace. I want to thank President Yadema for being bold and brave in trying to foster peace in Africa.
La République d'Angola salue les efforts remarquables déployés par l'Union africaine dans la lutte contre les multiples menaces à la paix et à la stabilité, qu'il s'agisse des criminalités transfrontalières, du terrorisme et des conflits internes de diverses natures.
Merci donc pour ces précieux moments en promotion de la paix et de la sécurité. Nous accueillons donc pour le mot de clôture son Excellence Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères, de la coopération, de l'intégration africaine et des Togolais de l'extérieur, son Excellence Monsieur le professeur Robert Doucet. Des applaudissements plus nourris pour toutes ces équipes qui nous auront rassemblés au cours de ces 2 jours de travaux pour la promotion de la paix sur notre continent.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le maître de cérémonie. My dear friend Ali Mohammed Omar, Minister of State of Somalia, I don't want to lose my job. So I just took a decision to cancel your visa because you pronounce very bad the name of my boss, President Faure Issazimna Gnassingbé. So it's your last time here in Togo. Don't come back here anymore. Merci beaucoup, mesdames et messieurs. Le Lomé Peace and Security Forum est un forum qui a beaucoup de chance. Il a beaucoup de chance parce que nous sommes à la fin de notre forum et nous avons l'honneur d'avoir pour cette cérémonie de clôture 3 anciens Premier ministre, Excellence Monsieur Joseph Kokou Kofigo, ancien Premier ministre de la République togolaise, Excellence Madame Lassina, j'allais dire Madame, Excellence Monsieur Lassina Zerbo, ancien Premier ministre du Burkina Faso, Excellence Madame Aminata Touré, ancien Premier ministre et haute représentante du président du Sénégal, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres des Affaires étrangères, Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères de la République sœur du Mali, Monsieur Abdoulaye Diop, que vous connaissez, assez particulier quand même, Excellence Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères du Niger, cher Bakary Sangaré, no comment, vous l'avez écouté vous-même. Excellence, Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères de la République sœur du Burkina Faso, vous savez ce que je veux dire, cher ami Karamoko, nous irons ensemble découvrir le visage de l'albinos noir. Mesdames et Messieurs les anciens ministres, Monsieur le représentant spécial du secrétaire général des Nations Unies pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest, Monsieur le représentant spécial du secrétaire général des Nations Unies pour la région des Grands Lacs, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, membres du corps diplomatique, consulaire et représentants des organisations internationales accréditées auprès de la République togolaise, Monsieur le Executive Director of Lome Peace and Security Forum, dear friend and brother Abisaïd, Mesdames et Messieurs les panélistes, chers représentants des forums partenaires et institutions engagées dans la promotion de la paix, chers amis, chers distingués, tout protocole observé, Je voudrais de prime abord présenter les excuses de l'organisation à toutes celles et à tous ceux qui, en arrivant à Lomé, ou peut-être en arrivant dans cet hôtel, ont eu des désagréments. Il est possible que nous avions eu certaines informations qu'il y a peut-être à un moment donné, l'accueil n'a pas bien fonctionné, mais nous voulons vous présenter nos excuses. Et aux jeunes étudiants, je vais dire ce que vous saviez déjà, c'est que l'erreur est humaine, n'est-ce pas? Les latinistes disent « errare humanum est ». Maintenant, je vais voir si vous êtes vraiment étudiant. Quelle est la suite de cette phrase? Sed perseverare diabolicum est. Vous êtes bon. Merci à vous, chers amis étudiants. Après 2 jours d'intenses et exaltantes activités, la 2e édition de Lome Peace and Security Forum rentre dans l'histoire. Et l'histoire en parlera certainement grâce à votre participation. Le moment est venu de tirer le rideau sur ces journées de réflexion profonde et d'échanges substantiels portant sur les défis sécuritaires et complexes et surtout sur les solutions à ces défis dans un contexte, comme vous le saviez aussi bien que moi, où l'Afrique, notre Afrique, est à la croisée des chemins. Cette Afrique se trouve à un moment historique des décisions et des choix fondamentaux et stratégiques. Je voudrais, en ce moment de clôture des travaux de Lome Peace and Security Forum 2025, au nom de son Excellence, my brother, For Resozimna Nyasingbe. I don't have a choice. I have to keep my job. For Resozimna Nyasingbe, président du Conseil, et au nom du gouvernement et du peuple togolais, vous exprimer et de vous réitérer nos sincères remerciements pour votre présence massive et votre participation active à nos échanges fructueux, je dirais. Mesdames et messieurs, un sage africain, je pense qu'il est malien de Bandiangara, disait « La beauté d'un tapis tient à la variété de ses couleurs. » Amadou Hampâté Bâ. Je voudrais le parapher pour souligner que la variété, la diversité des provenances a fait la beauté de l'édition 2025 de Lome Peace and Security Forum. La variété et la diversité des participants ont fait de ce Lpsf le lieu de rencontre d'acteurs aux identités différentes et à une affiliation multiple. Votre engagement collectif a insufflé une énergie remarquable à nos travaux, transformant cette enceinte en un véritable laboratoire d'idées pour la sécurité et la stabilité de notre continent. Notre humanité commune nous a réunis à Lomé, puisqu'il y a dans la nature fondamentale de l'homme d'aspirer à la paix et à la propension d'œuvrer pour la paix. Et ici, je voudrais de nouveau vous citer Amadou Hampâté Bâ, qui disait qu'à notre époque, si grosse de menaces de toutes sortes, les hommes doivent mettre l'accent sur ce qu'ils ont de commun, dans le respect de l'identité de chacun. La rencontre et l'écoute de l'autre est toujours plus enrichissante, même pour l'épanouissement de sa propre identité. Dear colleagues, dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, The recommendations emerging from this forum are a call for concerted action. We need action right now after this forum. They invite us to revitalize our regional and continental cooperation mechanism, to invest in human capital, and to pursue a resolutely proactive diplomacy focused on prevention and strengthening resilience. The path of lasting peace is like a marathon. It requires perseverance, consistency, and above all, unity of vision and action. As I officially close the proceeding of the second edition of Lome Peace and Security Forum, it's my hope that the spirit of Lome is a spirit of solidarity, is a spirit of fraternity, is a spirit of clarity and determination. Will follow you back to your respective capitals and inspire your future action. But you have to know you are going back home. Your real home is not Niamey, is not DC, Washington, DC, or is not Montreal. Your real home is here in Togo. Please come back to visit us here. May the bond here the strengthen, and may the recommendation resulting from the proceeding quickly find resonance in the reality of our continent, Africa. Because Lome Peace and Security Forum is a forward-looking forum, we hope to see you again in 2 years' time for the third edition. Because Lome Peace and Security Forum is a meeting place for peace professionals, we hope to see you again soon in Lome. Because the Lome Peace and Security Forum is a forum focused on partnership, we hope to see our partners, which is you against soon here in Lome. Because the Lome Peace and Security Forum gives young people here a voice, we hope to see young people again in 2 years in Lome. Because the Lome Peace and Security Forum is about women, we hope to see women again in 2027 in Lome. Because the Lome Peace and Security Forum gives leaders a voice, we hope to see leaders again here in Lome. Because finally, the Lome Peace and Security Forum is about hope. We hope to see you again in 2 years in Lome, the capital of peace, dialogue, tolerance, and everything you want in the world. Thank you so much. But finally, je voudrais inviter et m'adresser aux jeunes étudiants qui sont ici présents, pour leur dire que l'avenir de l'Afrique est dans leurs mains. Les pères des indépendances ont travaillé pour notre continent et nous ont donné les indépendances. Aujourd'hui, vous aviez une génération qui vous gouverne, qui essaie de faire le mieux qu'elle peut faire pour assurer le bien-être des populations. L'avenir de l'Afrique, l'avenir du Togo est dans votre main. Nous comptons sur vous et vous ne pouvez pas me démentir quand je vous dis que le Togo va bien et le Togo va mieux. Merci.
Quelqu'un dira, il persiste
Et il insiste.
et signe. Merci à Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères, de la coopération, de l'intégration africaine et des Togolais de l'extérieur. C'était un plaisir, c'était une occasion d'apprentissage. La sagesse nous enseigne que voyager, c'est apprendre. Et pour vous toutes et vous tous qui avez accepté de voyager pour Lomé, forcément, vous avez appris et vous nous avez permis d'apprendre. Merci donc pour cette deuxième édition qui vient d'être clôturée par son Excellence, Monsieur le ministre. Ça aura été une bénédiction pour nous tous. Merci. Notre prière, c'est que vous voyagez par terre, par mer ou dans les airs, que vous rentriez chez vous en toute sécurité et que Dieu nous fasse la faveur de la santé et de la vie pour que nous nous retrouvions dans 2 ans avec l'expression de toute notre gratitude.
Un dernier mot, que la paix soit avec nous tous.
Merci, excellente suite de journée.